Hello all. This is the first video for the color theory project, especially since you're working at home. The first thing you're going to do is turn to page 27 in your workbooks. If you don't have the page, you can just use any old page and that's fine. It says ideas and thumbnail sketches for your color theory. On page 26, this is kind of your cheat sheet, okay? What I'd like you to do is go through the PowerPoint slides on Canvas and go through and make a definition of monochromatic, complementary, analogous, and triad. Go through color a color wheel. You can use crayons, markers, doesn't matter what, okay? In these boxes, you're going to color them for us. You're going to say, all right, monochromatic is essentially one color, the dark, the middle, and the light version of that color. And so you're going to come in and say, okay, well, I'm going to make a light blue here, and a middle blue there, and then I'm going to color in a dark blue here. And you don't have to use blue. You can use pink, you can use orange, whatever you want to use. Okay? So you're going to come in and color that in. You can use crayons, you can use pencils, you can use whatever you've got. Okay? Flip, you can use the paint in that I gave you. Just use a little tiny bit of it so you've got enough to do the project. But you're going to put the definition up here. So definition of monochromatic is one color, different values of one color. Okay? Complementary, same thing. You're going to find out what is complementary, what are complementary color schemes. You're going to look at that slideshow. It's right on there. You're going to write in the definition here, and then you're going to give me two complementary colors that are complementary. Okay? So fill this out first. That's in your workbook. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is very familiar to you. You did this on your social issues. You're going to make a list. So the first thing you're going to do is make a list. And it's going to be a list of things that you could do for this. Now, you've watched the video. You understand what Andy Warhol did. And you're going to create something that's a very simplified drawing of an object. Now, it could be anything. The one up, I'll give you a picture of it in the Canvas, but it's the one we had in the classroom was donuts. So we could say, all right, that's a simple thing that I might be able to draw. Let me get a different pen. Okay. It might be cookies. It might be, maybe I have a favorite candy bar. Maybe it's Hershey's. So you're going to make a list. Give me a list of about 10 things. 10, maybe 20 if you're thinking, you can really get all this. Then you're going to do the little thumbnail sketches. There's a theme here. You've done this before. Okay, now I just drew a little rectangle here. Our final ones are going to be squares. So make sure that your thumbnail sketches are little squares. Okay, and we're going to say, okay, so let's just say that I want to do cookies. And I say, well, I could put a cookie right in the middle, but that's going to be really boring because it's got the same negative space all the way around. It, is not exciting. I could do cookies this direction and say, well, maybe they are gingerbread cookies, and I'm going to have, maybe they're chocolate chip cookies, doesn't matter what kind. And I'm going to put some stylized chocolate chips in them. I'm going to have one there. Maybe they're overlapping. Maybe this one comes up here. If I look at those, I go, kind of like that. Also, as I'm doing this, I'm being a little bit mindful of how many shapes have I got that I will have to paint in later. And the way you count that is you look at this one and think, well, this is 1, this is 2, that background, this is 3, this is 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the chocolate chips. Okay? So that's not too bad. We could probably do that one. You could also do things that have letters in them. If your favorite candy bar is a Hershey bar, look up what the Hershey logo looks like. Maybe you do a little part of the Hershey logo and say, all right, the Hershey type looks kind of like this. We could draw that in. If you are feeling kind of like you don't want to do this, you could even come in and print it out and trace it if you wanted to. So I'm going to do a little piece of the Hershey wrapper. Okay. Now, Let me show you that a little bit closer. Bring this down. Okay. So that's what that is. That would be a little piece of it. Now, this one would be a little more complicated because I've got this color here and this one here to paint. And then I've got all of this background to do. And then the letters would be a different color. Okay, so this one probably has more like 15 shapes in it. You can pick anything you want. You can do cupcakes. I seem to have a food theory here. Does it have to be that? I've seen kids do things like a bicycle wheel, and it has spokes. Okay, that would be interesting. Maybe it's handlebars to something. But it's just, the theme of this is what brings you joy. Okay. Also, does not have to be holiday related. Could be anything you want. So you're going to get the list of possible things, a bunch of thumbnail sketches. Keep them simple. Keep them less than 20 shapes. Okay? Or it's going to get really tricky to paint this thing. Okay? Now, when you get those figured out, and notice we've got the back of the page you can also use if you want to. Bring it up here. Okay, then you've got this next page, perfect square. Now, this is not the size of the square you're going to need to use, and I'll need you to pull out the paper. We had to go smaller because you're home and I needed it to fit in your bag. So you're going to take this. This is your final piece of paper. Don't kill this. And you're just going to take this and you're going to fold it very, very carefully into quarters. Okay, just go half with it. Okay, and half again, and this is going to give you pretty perfect squares. Okay, all right, so you've got, so now you're going to have 4 different squares to paint in. So you're going to have a different illustration in each, well, the same illustration in each one, but with different colors. All right, but when you've got it all folded, this is the size you want to start with. All right, so I'm just going to put this on my page and I'm going to trace around it. Okay, so this is my final size. That's just this in quarters. All right, now I'm going to put this to one side and be careful not to lose it. If something happens to this, just find a white piece of paper that is this size. Okay, it doesn't even matter. You can use cardboard for this. It wouldn't matter. Whatever you can find. Okay, so now I've got this size. I'm going to draw my exactly what I want to do. I've taken my idea from here and I'm going to say, you know what, I want to do that bicycle tire. So I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm going to say, all right, I want to do that bicycle tire because I think that sounds fun. All right, and I'm going to pull in a line. Notice I'm keeping things very graphic, quite simplified. If I need to use a ruler, I can use a ruler for this. All right, notice I'm going off the page, but that's okay. I just wanted to get these spokes in kind of correctly. All right, so we want to get the spokes in. And you're going to draw this. Now, a little bit of detail is fun. If you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces, that's going to be a little bit boring. But if I added some treads on this, it might make it interesting because then I'd have some more places to paint. Okay, so make it interesting. Make this good design. Make sure you've got balance. Make sure your image is large. And that it's probably cropped. Okay, so balance, make sure you've got interesting balance. Your image is very large and it's cropped. And you don't have lots of fiddly little pieces because that makes it harder to paint. Okay, so once you've got this, then we'll have you go to the next video and we'll show you how to trace it on. See you in a minute.